It's Wednesday, March 5th, right now on 12 News at 10.
I'm Chase Golightly. Passengers flying to Phoenix experienced quite a delay when they say one of the passengers stripped naked and demanded to get off the plane. The video coming up.
A weather impact alert for Arizona as I'm tracking a winter storm in two parts.
And in sports, a big group of Suns out at spring training today, watching the brother of Suns rookie Ryan Dunn take the mound.
12 News at 10 with Mark Curtis and Caribe Divine starts now.
We begin tonight with new details on an unruly passenger aboard a Southwest Airlines flight that was bound for Phoenix. That flight didn't even make it off the ground, turning back to the gate after a woman stripped completely naked and started cursing at the flight crew. At one point, passengers say she tried to get inside the cockpit. Good evening and thanks so much for joining us. For 12 News at 10, I'm Caribe Divine.
This is a wild story. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Mark Curtis. The entire thing was caught on camera by another passenger who walked us through how it all went down on board. 12 News journalist Chase Golightly is live at Sky Harbor, where that flight was headed. And Chase, was the woman charged?
Mark Caribe, according to police, that woman was not charged. Instead, when police detained her, they took her to a hospital for a medical evaluation, even though some of those passengers told me they were scared of this situation and there were several children on this flight. Now, a warning to our viewers, while we did blur parts of this video, some may still find it disturbing.
It was so shocking.
Passengers on this Southwest flight couldn't believe what they were seeing.
This is getting crazy. Like, this is something that you see out of a movie.
A woman on the plane stripping completely naked. Wait. Walking up and down the aisle. Was it a packed flight?
It was very packed.
We spoke with one of those passengers who asked to remain anonymous. She said they had just boarded the plane in Houston and were about to leave for Phoenix when the woman, while fully dressed, walked to the front of the plane and started yelling.
I do remember her saying that she wanted to get off the flight.
The passenger also said she heard the woman yell that she was bipolar. Then when the plane started taxiing to the runway,
She started jumping up and down, screaming at the top of her lungs.
the woman took off all of her clothes and continued to yell.
It was very evident that she was having a mental breakdown.
At one point, another passenger said the woman grabbed a flight attendant. Everyone on the plane trying to remain calm.
I just kind of kept to myself. I didn't want to start any problems, and I was just hoping that the plane wouldn't take off, which it didn't, thank God.
The plane returned back to the gate where another worker came in and covered the woman with a blanket before she took off.
The lady just runs out of the airplane, and who knows where she went.
Houston police said she was taken to a hospital for medical evaluation. At this time, she isn't facing any charges.
I've never experienced anything like that.
We've covered several unruly passenger incidents happening on Phoenix flights. According to the FAA, 2021 had the highest number of incidents in recent years, with nearly 6,000 reported. While that number has dropped significantly since then, it's still higher than what was reported before the COVID-19 pandemic.
Just in complete shock on what happened.
That passenger I spoke with told me their flight was delayed for about an hour and a half before they were able to take off. We also received a statement from Southwest Airlines that told us in part that they have apologized to all customers on board that plane. We're live at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. Chase Golightly, 12 News.
All right, Chase, thank you. Happening right now in Phoenix, police are investigating a shooting that sent a man to the hospital with serious injuries. Officers responded to the scene near the 51 and Thunderbird around 6 p.m. and they found a man who had been shot. They immediately rushed him to the hospital and were told that he is now in critical condition. Police still haven't found the suspect and say that they shut down several streets in the neighborhood as they continue their search.
Now to our weather impact forecast. We're just hours away from seeing some fresh snow in the high country. Meteorologist Chris Dunn is here with our weather impact forecast. And Chris, you're actually tracking two separate systems, right?
Yeah, that's right. The first one arrives tomorrow, and the second one right on its heels. That'll move in on Friday with a bigger impact for the valley. So round one, tomorrow morning, the snow actually starts to kick in over northern Arizona overnight tonight above 5,000 feet. The second round set for Friday. Again, that'll have the bigger impact on the valley. Lots of high clouds out there right now. Very little rain so far, except for Mojave County in southern Utah. There are 2 winter weather advisories in effect just because of the snow and the impact of what's going to move in overnight tonight, starting at 3 o'clock in the morning and until 6 o'clock tomorrow afternoon for the Flagstaff area and also the Kaibab Plateau and north rim of the Grand Canyon. That's where we're going to see quite a bit of snow and then quite a bit of wind across northeastern Arizona. Wind advisory in effect through 7 p.m. on Thursday, and also out towards the Colorado River, wind advisory until 6 p.m. So the main impact for the high country on Thursday and Friday, with periods of snow, with a weather impact alert for the high country and a weather impact alert for the valley on Friday, mainly due to the rain and also the wind that we will see. As far as the snow amounts are concerned, Jacob Lake 8 to 12, Flagstaff's looking at 4 to 6 inches. That's just for Thursday. You'll likely see another 3 to 5 on top of that. The Grand Canyon 2 to 3. Lesser amounts for the lower elevations and also farther to the east in the White Mountains, but you'll pick up yours on Friday, 4 to 6 for Heber Overgard and for Show Low. As far as the rain in the valley is concerned for tomorrow morning, 20% chance starting up around 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. But again, that's not the main event. The main rain arrives on Friday. A closer look at that and what you can expect leading into the weekend, all coming up a little bit later on.
Okay, we'll see you then, Chris. Thank you. Attorneys general from several states came together in Phoenix tonight to discuss federal funding cuts and layoffs under President Trump's administration. Last night, during his joint address to Congress, President Trump highlighted what he described as excessive government spending identified by his newly created Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. But many argue that the cuts are coming too quickly and essential employees are being laid off. 12 News journalist Bianca Bono is joining us live outside of Central High School, where this discussion unfolded. Bianca.
Yeah, Caribe, hundreds of people showed up here tonight as this was the first community impact hearing, with several more scheduled to happen all over the country. Multiple AGs sat on stage as dozens of people got up and shared how they've been personally impacted by federal budget cuts.
It was my dream job, and it was something that I worked over 20 years to achieve.
Kristen Frey is talking about her job at the Phoenix VA.
I work as a music therapist with veterans who have unique medical challenges. TBI, polytrauma, PTSD, Agent Orange exposure.
On February 13th, the VA sharing part of Frey's work on social media, showing photos of veteran musicians performing. But less than 2 weeks later, she received this email notifying her she had been terminated.
My supervisor and her chain of command had no knowledge of this email. It came straight from Washington, D.C. and DOGE.
Frey receiving a standing ovation as she shared her story at a community impact meeting Wednesday at Central High School. Dozens of others speaking too.
I am speaking to you tonight as a physician.
I've been a proud TSA employee for 22 and a half years.
I worked for the USDA.
As 4 Democrat attorneys general, including Arizona AG Chris Mays, sat on stage and listened. It's the first of several similarly planned meetings across the country to discuss the impact of DOGE decisions and federal budget cuts.
Reform should be done lawfully.
President Trump announced the creation of the Department of Government Efficiency, led by Elon Musk, in an executive order on the day of his inauguration, aimed at cutting back on government spending and reducing debt, highlighting the initiative during his joint address to Congress Tuesday night.
We'll be ending the flagrant waste of taxpayer dollars. And to that end, I have created the brand new Department of Government Efficiency.
Polling shows the majority of Americans believe the government spends too much. But Mays and these elected officials argue the cuts are causing chaos and at times illegal, leaving now former federal employees like Frey in limbo.
The AGs are never, ever going to give up on these cases. We are going to continue to try to seek immediate stoppages and immediate enforcement by federal judges against these cuts.
And hours before this meeting, the VA secretary did announce that they'll be cutting their workforce by 15%. That's more than 70,000 people, though he said it will not impact health care or benefits for veterans. Just moments ago, I talked to the Attorney General here in Arizona, Chris Mays. She said tomorrow she'll be filing a FOIA request to find out exactly how many veterans and spouses of veterans have been fired. And within the next week, she says we can expect to see a lawsuit to address the federal firings. We're live in Phoenix tonight. Bianca Bono, Bono, 12 News.
Bianca, thanks. A major update today from Maricopa County Court, where a judge permanently blocked enforcement of Arizona's ban on abortion after 15 weeks of pregnancy. The ruling comes after voters overwhelmingly approved Prop 139 last November, protecting a woman's right to have an abortion. However, Prop 139 advocates say the fight to protect the abortion rights of women is just getting started, with court challenges likely coming in the future.
Meanwhile, State Senator Eva Birch announced today that she'll be resigning on March 14th. She's been representing District 9 in Mesa since 2023. Last year, Birch made national headlines when she announced her planned abortion in the Senate chamber. In a statement, Birch says that she is struggling to make ends meet and find balance between her legislative work and her job as a healthcare worker. The Democratic committee in her district will now come up with a list of potential replacements. The Maricopa County Board of Supervisors will then make a final decision. The senator will join us in studio tomorrow night at 6:30 to discuss more on her decision.
Earlier today, the DEA field office gave us a behind-the-scenes tour of their new one-of-a-kind mobile drug testing lab. It's a fully functional lab that allows chemists to test drugs at the site of crimes where large amounts of drugs have been seized, as dangerous as fentanyl can be. Since last summer, the DEA says they've seen a sharp uptick in other harmful substances being mixed in with drugs like fentanyl or meth, making it even more dangerous and more important for chemists to accurately test them.
Cartels have a dye, and they can make the pills into any shape, any color, any size to trick us into thinking that they're safe to take. I can't tell the difference between a real pill and a fake pill without having a lab analysis.
The chemists say they're very proud of the work they're doing, helping to keep dangerous drugs off the street.